Welcome to the Mysteries of the Feeling Realm, a podcast where we explore our relationship to this feeling body, to the vibrations and sensations that are constantly moving just beneath our awareness, that we have so much judgment of. We brace against them, we blend with them, we hide them, and we blame others for them, but mostly how these energies are profoundly misperceived. So join us, Cole and Lorella, as we explore what it might feel like to welcome every single drop of your experience in a relaxed and kind and deeply receptive body. And welcome to the 6th episode, and it is wonderful to be back after a very long stretch.
Yeah, way too long of a stretch.
It was. We have been working pretty hard. I've been very immersed. I ran a 8-month immersion with a group of people, and that took every bit of my presence and energy and creative juice.
I don't know how you do that. I'm in awe when I see you do stuff and how you immerse yourself. Like for you, it's such a deep dive.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was a kind of creative, it was a really big pilot program, kind of creating and holding and practicing. So it was a little bit on the extreme side. But I think my level of inner intensity has trained me to cope with quite a lot of intensity. And I guess one of the new things for me is actually the recognition of, balancing that with some calm abiding. I mean, even my practices.
Calm abiding.
Calm, I know.
Oh my God.
Moisey, it's probably that's a normal thing for you.
No, it's like you just reminded me.
Yeah, we're kind of like a little bit possibly too in the feeling realm. Like that is something I got. I really got that. I did a nice long retreat that brought up many insights, but one of them was when I practice with the feeling realm, and whilst there is a lot of spaciousness because of the intensity of my inner realms, there's just something that I'm very used to being with intensity, with spaciousness, but there's something over here about just simplifying, calm abiding, not doing anything for big stretches of time, that as a single mother and working and developing and holding all the time, it's not something I create space for, and it was quite profound to have really a very long stretch of very little input, very little doing, and the benefits of that in my system. So I've been a little bit more balanced since I've returned to balance even my feelings practices with absolutely like very little, like just calm abiding. I'm loving those words.
Well, you just saying it already transferred over my way. I'm going like, how am I going to speak now?
Well, you're way more spacious in your life. So maybe you want to speak about where you have been since we've been kind of off air. Where have you been hanging out?
Well, I started teaching again. I started teaching guitar. I went back to Steiner School, which has been beautiful, hanging out with kids, and I'm writing music and arrangements, and that's been nice to have because I was running groups over the Zoom calls, feeling groups, and that slowly came to an end. That was also 27 weeks of holding space. It was quite something. new, very open group. I could pretty much say anything and it would fly. So it was really beautiful to have such a reflection of no opposition, just simply trying and exploring the, particularly looking at the judgment systems and how they affect feelings.
Judgment systems affect feelings
Big
so
time.
insanely and so hard for us to see because we're so embedded in the judgment that we don't even notice it. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. And then, how could I say, we're translating A Course of Love, which is a beautiful book by Mary Perron, and we're translating it into Czech language. I'm a Slovakian, and we're translating it to Czech. And being so deeply involved with the book has brought up a lot of love. So, yeah, with this, having this profound journey every day, talking to a professional translator, thank God, and it's just such a different level of exquisite journeying, hearing this exquisite book.
Course of Love is quite extraordinary and so unknown. It's really, I don't really hear about it much. I didn't hear about it until it was exposed to me by you, but it's quite extraordinary.
Yes.
Very underground. A lot of your traditions are pretty underground.
And yeah, that's been just hearing it in that mother tongue, mother language is like, and the Czech language is so much richer than Slovakian language. So I'm blown away I've done it for so many years in English, and now having this journey with it has been very profound. But also keeps me busy, so I've been quite taken by it.
And those transmissions are deep practice. They are books that you read slowly and allow them to land in your being in a way that's very different to the mind.
They're awakeners. To make us aware how to truly hear from the heart. Same as we do feelings. I think there's like for me, it's in between. The mind, this heart, and the feeling underneath creates this sandwich. And this particular one is an awakening of the heart in the way that it's got nothing to do, obviously, with the pump that runs the blood, but it's that with the presence.
So much contraction around the heart when we're so not oriented, or our center of gravity is in our head as opposed to our heart or in the earth.
My God. God, I love how you put it. Center of gravity.
Yeah, it's kind of the way I work. I just watch so many clients just constantly move up, touch feelings and move up. But just before we kind of move into the feeling realm, you're also on day what of the Course of Miracles? I mean, you're doing that at 7 a.m. every morning with a group of people. Every morning at 7 a.m. So what day are you at?
Day 223 today.
So day 223, every morning at 7
a.m. on the dot.
You read each new lesson and you feel that all day.
We feel that and we don't analyze it and we don't interpret what is being said, but we allow the words to take us to their meaning, which is like a constant fresh awakening to a new way of being.
I do love that. I do love that transmission, and it's such a, it kind of works so deeply beneath perception. But as you're speaking, what I'm really aware of, and this is the reason why we haven't recorded for possibly, I don't know if it's 10 months or something, but is because we've been immersed in practice. And for me, there is something about being immersed in practice and having a group experience and turning towards your experience with a particular kind of container or way of that brings you from the numbness or the sleepiness of the present moment that is not connected to feeling, and using a container as a way of, constantly dropping down into the present, into the embodied wholeness of our experience, and how much we need that, because when we're just up in the mind and lost in our madness, how difficult that is to see, for starters, and how the feeling realm becomes problematic and painful because we're resisting it incredibly. So, yeah, I just wanted to speak to the fact that, both you and I are practitioners of, 30, 40 years, and that we are pretty constantly in some kind of container, either doing or holding, because it needs this constantly coming down into and the deep richness and nourishment and incredibly paradoxical experience of moving from difficulty into the present moment. Felt sense of that is this bizarre coming home. It's quite extraordinary how we kind of move away from practice, or we're moving away from difficulty, and yet as we turn towards it with a certain spaciousness and receptivity, that it enters us into the present that was not available to us whilst we were lost in the mind.
And when I was driving here, I thought of like mysteries of the feeling realm, and what are they? And they're never ending.
Oh my God, they're never ending.
Never ending surprise. And how many times? I mean, like, I don't want to kind of like talk about it, but it blows my mind, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's so never-endingly, profoundly deep.
Yeah, there's no need to get to any kind of enlightened state, because every moment of turning towards experience, which in my body doesn't necessarily feel like it's going to be fun, like there is something about, that thing of like, it is never ending, and it can feel like there is an initial resistance to it because it feels like it's intense, or something isn't quite right, or, oh God, I'm going to an edge. Oh God, I have to make this feeling. Like in my system, no matter how long I've been doing it, there's still this little like, do I have to feel that? And then when I do make space for it and allow myself to be with it, it requires in my system quite a lot of space. If I'm too close to the feeling, I pull in. But yeah, there is still in my system, even though I absolutely love and trust this journey, a little, can't I just go to sleep over here? But then the richness and the rewards are beyond. And I trust that.
Yeah. I trust how we flow in this. Like, we're just not really sure. Like, I'm not really sure where exactly one can go with this, because it reveals itself as I hear you say something, like the way you respond. I become more seen for myself through you. Like, you're the reflection. Actually, I think this is the coolest subject, because for me, is this equality. I just love this. That I get this reflection when I see myself through you. I love it. I feel, I don't know, it awakens something in me that I can't see somehow. It's almost like, without you, I can't do this as deeply as I do it when we communicate like this.
So when you say reflection, is it when I kind of
your ooze, your it's not so much the words you're saying,
it's an embodied
as
expression.
the embodied something like a wave comes over to me, which makes me present. I go like, aha, here's something I can be present for.
And that wave is particularly strong when it's a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit exposing, a little bit vulnerable. Like it's exquisite to see what happens when you bring the hidden, the uncomfortable, the not allowed between, and start to bring that into relationship. It's actually, this is one of the things I've been really getting is as a feeler, like as a sensei, as someone who is constantly swimming and drowning in their feelings, when I am with someone who cannot feel their feelings and they are more in mind, I feel really uncomfortable. So uncomfortable that normally I turn that discomfort in on myself and think I'm feeling insecure. And then I work harder to make it okay for them or to get through to them. And that uncomfortable pathway, it was so familiar I didn't even realize it.
Or is it because you can't speak to it with them, maybe, that they would not meet you in that?
Well, because my system is so used to somehow being judged for feeling, so for you, it actually settles something in your system and makes you more present.
Yeah.
And that's what happens for me. But there are so many people where they're not in contact with their feelings and they're either pretending they're not having it or they're not in connection to it as they speak, or they're judging it, or they're judging me. And so my system feels unsafe. But it's so used to that. Because for me, there are very few people that are hanging at the level of intense experience as me. So as soon as I'm not around that, I actually start to feel unsafe. But I'm so used to turning that experience in on myself as
I see
something I must be doing something wrong. And the more I get this experience which you're talking about, which is the reflection of the feeling, the congruence of being in the presence of someone who is speaking from their actual direct experience, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Is that my system down-regulates when it hears truth that is connected to direct experience. So that is more important for me.
Music to my ears.
It's bizarre, like, you know, I'm in my late 50s and I'm still like, oh my goodness, I've known I've needed this for quite some time. But still, when I'm in the presence of that disconnection in someone else, the discomfort in my system usually blames itself rather than, oh yeah, this is not, we're not deepening, but now I'm starting to clock it, the discomfort, and I'm just being with the discomfort in myself, which rather than blaming myself or jumping over myself to make it comfortable for the other, I'm just staying with the experience that is kind of has a certain intensity to it and just letting it be. And in that, I find a safety or a presence with an experience that I wasn't quite able to connect to. But it's exquisite for me to be in the presence of someone who can feel their feelings, who is in touch with the discomfort or what is hidden and expresses it. My system just down regulates.
Opens.
And becomes incredibly present. Incredibly magnetically present, you know. It's got this, it's so much more alive.
Yeah. Then the mind settles.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the subjects I wanted to bring up, is that coming to that place where mind settles and replaces into presence. It's my personal thing, like to go to a time before mind was. Even our thought system, I mean, you know, when we were born, right? What's first? Just movement and feeling and emotion. And then comes the, look at this, look at that, naming things, and picking up the whole karma drama of our parents and the surroundings. But before that, what was there? I loved that. What was before? It was all loaded up.
Yeah, like, you know, if we kind of unpack this a little bit. So for me, what I hear you say is like you're looking at it developmentally, in time, in kind of historical.
Yeah.
But for me, if I'm being with feeling, if I'm actually being with my direct experience and I know what I'm being with, then I'm in the mind. So even somatic approaches,
Nice.
somatic approaches that are still naming experience, labeling experience, connecting them to childhood, you know, kind of trying to process them, work on them, or even if you're hanging out with your feelings and you can still put a label onto what you're being with, then you are not in the feeling realm. You're in the mind. And that experience is still disconnected and not present in the way that of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess what I'm hearing you saying is the time before mind was is available to us now.
Yes.
But we are scared of the feelings still. We don't have a good relationship to them. So we don't go down in a kind of receptive and open way to receive direct vibration because there's still a sense of something's wrong, shouldn't be here. We're judging our present moment. So to learn that descent, to learn to be with feeling without mind, that you and I naturally do because of all the years of training. But it'd be good to unpack that a little bit. And then when you're with feeling without being able to label, so when you're just with sensation, vibration, direct experience from quite a spacious place in your being, not inside the envelope of your skin, you know, so there's an expanded awareness, then you start to be more in the darkness, more in the feminine aspect of consciousness, more in the present, and you will know you're there because you can't label it, and a different quality of presence arises. So maybe let's kind of start there. What are the qualities of presence, you know, when we're not in the locus of the mind, or when we're not in the center of gravity up, we're kind of more in the center of gravity down, and we've entered into presence with feeling. How does someone know they're in that kind of presence?
For me, like the first thing that pops straight away, then it comes into this divine state of being. For me, it just goes beyond. It's like, hey, my kingdom's not of this world, in a way. because it just goes into that state of God.
Yes. Let's describe for a moment this divine state, right? Because a lot of the stuff we're talking about has actual qualities to them. Yeah. So when you are in the feeling realm,
well, for me, like, I don't think I can speak it. Because like a fucking language.
Did you swear?
Yeah, I think I did. Because I think that's what it is. I mean, that's like I said, there's no password to God is the word fuck, because somewhere there's something in that. When I go to this divine state, that's all I can say if I have to say a word. Otherwise, it's a sound. Like the primordial, basically a reverberation of being. Like it's vibrational. And not as mental, or actually the mental whole vanishes. Personally, for me, that's what I'm talking about it, but it's beyond words.
So
and it's new. It's
Mm-hmm.
got the newness to it. Like each moment is like a revelation of a kind. Or even when I look at the word creation, what is that? Like something's creating right now, like it wasn't before, incomparable to anything that mind can store and regurgitate. So now, brand new, and now brand new, and now brand new. But it's not. My mind doesn't rush in to define it. It just rejoices in it. I like that.
It's so interesting because defining this space is something that I do. Yeah. You know, maybe because I work with the feelers, and the feelers are so usually quite intense in their inner realms. So we look like we have intense feelings all the time. We often feel like we're too much. We've been told we're too much. A lot of people I work with have been, classified as complex PTSD because their inner realm is actually volumed up like 400%, I reckon, to your average. Right? So one of the benefits of this, so the kind of the gift to the curse, is that these realms actually are a little bit identifiable. Okay, so when you say this realm that's godlike, right? One of the things, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this. So one of the things that I know when I've entered into that realm is that it becomes very soft.
Yes.
There is a sense even that it's a little bit sleepy. A quality that one could call drug-like. And you have no idea what you're doing. Your sense of coordinates has gone. There's no sense of space.
Yeah, dislodges the times and space. Yeah.
Dislodges mind, like you've entered it. And the sense of boundary in your body has gone.
Gone, yeah.
So mostly one would feel like actually they're inhabiting the air and space and vibration around them.
My language is communion.
With existence. Yeah. So there's a vibrational quality. It's actually like a different dimension of being.
Absolutely.
And so we're used to being in upright, clear.
Yep.
Like very much we can feel time and space, and it feels so familiar to us, and that sense of identity and who we are, and control is much more there. There is definitely mind, complexity, what you're doing, what you're being with. But when you enter into these more divine states, it's like the complete opposite of that. Yeah. So one of the reasons I know I'm entering the darkness is because the relaxation and softness begins. There is a sense of being, it's like you're held by, like you're at the bottom of the ocean and you're held by that undulation of this huge body of water. And there is a weightlessness and a gravity to it.
Yes.
So that, I mean, I really like expressing the qualities because for when I work with feelers, that all is indicators of where you are. And if you know what you're being with, if you have any sense of the story, the words, the name of it, you are no longer in that divine union. You have gone back to mind.
But there's one more aspect that I get, and there is the super sensitivity to light.
Oh, this is different to mine because I'm fully in darkness. What do you mean by that?
Anything that's light becomes a little bit of like, I'm very sensitive to it. What kind of light am I going to open to? What kind of light is coming? Because not all light is loving light in my books.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so let's
good.
go there. I mean, it's just like not part of my repertoire of hanging in the underworld.
Well, it's almost like the one you were talking about when you're talking to somebody who's not connected to feelings. Like you never know what's coming. Whereas when I'm talking to someone who is connected to feelings, I always kind of can intuit what is coming.
You're pointing downwards.
Yeah, I'm feeling grounded with them. I feel like we are connected. Whereas when the light, I feel I become extremely sensitive to light and sound, even. Like the
the vibration of light.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so, how does that inform you? Like, what do you?
It's almost like my feeling realm has got this profound intelligence, that informs. Yeah, it's not like this intelligence of mind, but it's got this. It's inherent quality of knowing.
That I'm with you. Okay, so let's kind of keep unpacking. So if I'm hanging in the darkness, which is my absolute favourite place to be, but and it's amazing because
mine too. I mean,
I get that. But it's just amazing how we have pathologized. I mean, we pathologize so much of this experience. It's kind of out of bounds for our consciousness to enter it. This is one of the reasons I love describing it, because so many people I'm with them, they just start to descend into the darkness and they'll literally pop out and go, oh, I feel tired, I'm falling asleep, I'm dissociating, they're judging it and freaking out by this incredible softness and expansiveness that they start to begin to taste, right, which is the spiritual dimension of our experience. So when I'm going down, and I'm hanging down there, I love what you're saying. Like, that is completely different information. Like, I'm being with vibration, I'm being with sensation, and that informs me in a completely, it illuminates my relationship to the feeling realm. It illuminates how perception has been judging this particular vibration. So rather than sorting out in my head my story of trauma, I can see through the body and through this level of spaciousness, when this vibration is here, I have sensed it as threatening, and I have moved in this direction. So that movement is illuminated, and it's like everything in my life makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I get insight into how that movement has dominated or has been habitually followed in my life, and it's a freedom to not follow it, and the experience is a slight and subtle bliss and an illumination of my misperception of existence.
Yeah.
So that I'm down with you, right? So let's keep this thing of like, what are you looking for in terms of the quality of light, or like your sensitivity to light, which you were naming before? How does that?
Well, what I'm finding in this darker realm of feeling is that the feeling knows the difference. There's like a differentiation
of presence.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're looking for that.
It comes.
Or you're aware of it. If your presence is somehow. So I love this. Let's unpack that. Like, what do you get when the light isn't? What tells you?
The softening hardens.
Oh, that brings me joy. Now I'm getting you. Yes.
The softening hardens, and
love it.
It solidifies and makes physical.
Oh, I'm with you. Oh, so glad we're talking about this.
Makes physical, and I love how we meet in this.
Yeah.
Like, we have such a different approach to the whole thing, but then we have these moments when it just like schlonk,
schlonk. So go. You keep going, because I just get all excited. Go for it.
Well, right now I'm so overjoyed in my system. It just vibrates in its being understood. It almost makes me teary.
Yeah.
Like, I just was understood in this place.
Oh, I get that.
Oh. And then comes this sense of speechlessness. It's like, right? I know you. It's not like I know. It's more like it's humble. It's just a knowing is.
The knowing about having connected on that experience that's very subtle. Yeah, speechlessness. I don't get there very often. Go on.
Yeah. Like in Tao Te Ching, there's this beautiful line that says, those who know do not talk.
I obviously don't know.
And okay, I've got another cool line which I'm absolutely loving. It actually comes from Ernest Hemingway. It's like, all thinking men are atheists. That's a profound statement. And from this place,
interesting.
That statement is like, it's crazy good. You're hearing it, hey?
Yeah.
All thinking men.
I'm also thinking
because that thinking disappears. Like we're speaking, but we're speaking from some kind of. I speak from thoughtlessness. Like it comes suddenly.
Yeah, it's kind of informed from the bottom up.
Yeah, this is one that like really entertains me. I'm like, oh my God, that's such a profound statement. Only a man who's kind of like connected to see would have to the feminine to know. Yeah, it's like this comes like that knowing.
Oh, we're so addicted to knowing the other way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to this, what we were talking about, the narrowing, the solidifying, right? Because a few things came for me that are real indicators of when you're in the darkness and when you're not. So to enter the darkness, we have to let go of story. And one of those that's really important is Lorella and the self. So if I'm meeting my feelings as Lorella, as her trauma, as her abandonment, as her any of those things, I don't enter the darkness. So I'm meeting, I get to that gateway, But I can't enter the gateway of the feminine aspect of consciousness or the unconscious until I let go and start to meet sensation just as sensation and vibration. Even though there's a resistance or a, but I enter into it when I just be with vibration. As I enter into it, the quiet, the softness, the sleepy sort of feeling, the diffusion, like there's no clarity down here. There's no specificity of that kind of way that we pierce into experience.
It's true. For me too.
It's lovely. And then you're being with vibration at a distance so that you can be with it harmoniously or in deep relaxation.
I mean, just the word softness, it's like this world's gone so hard. Our physical bodies are getting hard.
Our ego or our identity is hard.
Actually, if I could share a practice.
Can we just stay on that because we're going to lose that?
Yeah, okay.
So there's a couple of indicators. One, if the story is there, if I start to label again as trauma, if you harden, you narrow, my breath will change from this deep, expanded, down-regulated state, and it will go light and shallow and fast. I find myself in a state of separation, and presence is very different when it's a presence imbued with this receptivity in the darkness. It's not from a right wrong. It's actually more in the quality of self-forgiveness. Oh, it's me.
Interesting.
It's me. I've been misperceiving. It's got compassion. I mean, it's got a different quality. It's imbued with compassion. It's imbued with self-forgiveness. It's imbued with even the grief of seeing a life, move through you that has lived inside this misperception.
Yes.
But it's a very sweet grief. It's like,
because you're softening into it. For me, that's what I was going to say. It's like, when I think I'm soft, I can still go softer. And the more I go softer, there is like next level of softer.
Yes.
Until it's like this lakeness, becomes a watery. See that? Yeah. You feel like a mind can't follow there.
The mind can't go down that deep. It just
and
can't.
then you got the next one, and underneath.
So is this your practice?
Yeah.
And can you soften more? Is that one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Do you want to talk to that?
That's
like
it. Spoken it. It's like, allowing the next level of softness that wasn't yet. And I don't think there is an end to it either. So it's so profound because it's going to the depth, and then there is a next depth, and there's this newness and freshness and a discovery.
Yeah, an insight or illumination.
Profound, illumination. It was like
and like profound relaxation. Like it's incredibly nourishing.
Yeah.
And the feeling becomes softer.
Feeling becomes softer, and I enter into this like almost like a feeling imagery that's not like mental imagery. It turns into colors. I see, like, let's say I see red like I've never seen before.
So there's a kind of clarity or something like a...
It's become so illuminated in a way that suddenly the red becomes so red. But it's liquid. It's almost like some kind of trip.
Oh, it's very trippy.
It's very trippy. Yeah, it becomes like a... Yeah. And sometimes I see structures, but most exquisite.
Wow.
It's like that kind of kingdomish of heavenish.
Kingdomish. of heavenish.
That we're birthing, creating a new world within.
It is. It's like you're constantly traveling new dimensions of being and new universes. I don't get that. I don't get the. Mine's so sensate. It's so somatic. But it's I do hear this when I work with people. Everyone's got these different styles. But just before we lose that softness, one of the things in terms of navigating, this is kind of like little tips in the underworld, is like if I'm being with a feeling in that expansive, receptive, it's no longer in story, it's just vibration. There's all these really subtle ways that you can start to, like, you know, that thing where you find yourself narrowing and back in mind. If I'm too close to feeling, if I'm too close, there's still a level of like extremely subtle effort. Yeah. Or
Yeah, that's a really So that's a good one to simply drop.
You kind of start to look for these really subtle things because we're so used to efforting, we're so used to doing that even in these relaxed places, you keep getting layers and layers and layers of like, oh gosh. And you know, this thing where you do, can you get any softer? My little practice down here is like, oh, let's ride the relaxation. Like anywhere that you notice the kind of, because usually the relaxation is like a gravitational magnetic pull downwards. Yeah.
But effort, that's an important word, that effort. Because for me, the minute effort comes in, it's gone.
Then you've gone back up. You've gone, exactly.
It's like it's an effortless, it's like it's all given in there.
It's all
given, it's like, and then I give that without me giving it. It's almost like the give is inherent in it. It gives of itself.
But the subtle way of looking for that, like, so for me, I look for the relaxation, not in an effortful way, but it supports the undoing of the doing.
Oh, Jesus. God.
So it's kind of like, oh, I'm just going to, because like in a way, we're so magnetized to the intensity of feeling, which keeps us in this more solid structure of identity, right? So once you start to kind of be with feeling in the relaxation and softness and darkness from a distance, there's still these incredibly subtle ways that perception or awareness has been trained to move toward intensity, or sensation. So to kind of develop yours is, can I relax more? Mine's like, can you take in just a little microdose of that relaxation, can just ride that relaxation down, and you start to do that and it just keeps dropping. Like it just goes, and you follow that. And it's so beautiful. It takes you into more and more and more relaxation to the point where, it's funny that you said, I think you kind of said this before, but like my term is like a ridiculous amount of non-doing. Like ridiculous. Yes. It's like I didn't even know that non-doing like that was possible.
It's almost like you need to do nothing.
You need to do nothing.
That's what you need in order to come to that place of not interfering with what is.
Oh my gosh. And that subtle interference, it's just so kind of like inbuilt that you don't even notice it. So to be undoing that in that ridiculous amount of non-doing relaxation is such an exquisite, like even seeing yourself do that or habitually stay close to intensity is such a delightful illumination. It's like it's not wrong. It's like, oh my gosh, I do that. Look at that, and a whole new universe opens. as you move or allow relaxation and non-doing to take you, you know?
I just had this really weird word coming. It was like, that's really sexy.
Of course it's sexy.
It's so sexy. And it's like...
It's sexy down here, not in that sex. It's just like so...
Isn't it?
It's just so delicious in its profound relaxation. You know, bliss sounds something high, but this is like... It's infused in every cell of your, not only your being, but the universe itself, you know.
Oh my God. I think I just had a second coming.
Stop it. You freak a lot of people out if you say stuff like that.
Oh my God. I mean, this is like this, that orgasm goes on all the time. We're just not on it, you know, because...
Oh, yeah, like we have to train. We have to train to actually allow this level of subtle bliss to actually infuse our being, because it is encoded in us. As soon as we start to even touch this, something in us says, that is wrong. It's either lazy, dissociated, you're going to fall asleep, you know, what the hell are you doing? There's so much trauma to deal with, you know, like, what are you doing? We're not doing anything here. Like, as soon as we touch it, there are alarm bells that go off in our being that actually pull our awareness up to mind and up to that level of narrow, contracted, and disconnected beingness that we're so familiar with, that we feel safe there. And it takes time to develop like for me, it's like we are microdosing the relaxation. We're like, it's like I say to people, like, you know, take like 2 little drops of this relaxation. Don't take any more. Do it shamanically. Don't like do it in a way that doesn't disturb the field. Because if you take in any more of that relaxation and that pleasure, even pleasure is too big a word, people, their systems go into that alert and pop them out. Yeah. So it's a training to take in what is the radiance of our being. We have to take it in slowly and work with it just as subtly as we do states of our terror. You know?
Yeah. I kind of don't care what people think.
Oh, when you said what sexy and
yeah, it's like you can whatever it's gonna do that for you. I don't care, you know, because this is what it is. And I actually
like how you're back there.
I actually feel
you must do because you're back there. You're back there, so some part of you. Go on, let's go there.
Oh, some part of me.
There is something.
Wow.
Maybe.
Well, that would be no podcast. I'll turn into a pot.
Oh, I was stirring into vulnerability. So, Cole, I think we might be organically at our...
It's very delicious. I feel so lashed up and could just feel like I just had like an astral orgy.
I can feel my sensitivity to the, like I can feel these little cells go, oh. I'm just looking after all the people that might find that hard. So you go...
The holding the world, I don't, you know, like I was like, guys...
That's so masculine. You're like, yeah, whatever.
You think? Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. There's this thing like, you know, there's always something going to creep in. And I just went, whatever creeps in...
there's always something that's going to activate
just
someone.
Always going to exactly. And if I had to dance to that, you know, I'd be endlessly.
Yes.
So at some point, you just have to say, like,
let it go.
Let it go. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. I look forward to that. I haven't quite evolved that far. But what I do love, one of my favorite things is the activation is where we want to go. It is where we're going to. So if we've pissed you off at all, if we've said anything that sounds, to this or to that, like turn towards that. Turn towards whatever is uncomfortable is calling you home, is, in fact, you can't enter the darkness without it.
Yeah.
It is the portal to this like other dimension of our consciousness that is currently off limits. A lot of it, not all of it.
And that is really that when we get to that true forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because we use let me do it my way. I use everything that pops into what's arising.
Yeah.
And am I in unity with that part of me or not?
Yeah.
And once I'm in unity, the less and less things arise to be forgiven until everything's forgiven, living in a forgiven world. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely my path too. I'm looking for what is activated. In fact, I keep it's my path. That is where, if I stay away from what is activating me, I live a very contracted and safe life. If I allow myself to meet what is uncomfortable, beautiful,
life continues to open. Well, that was so much fun. That was so much fun to be back here.
Yeah, in this tiny little...
Back here in the...
cupboard.
In the... yes, renovated cupboard.
So good, isn't it? It's like the smallest space I've ever seen, actually.
We are in such a small space.
So good because it's intimate and it's like...
It was my walk-in wardrobe, but it's now...
a beautiful studio.
Cute little box.
You have to stand up if I want to walk out. Anyways,
Anyway.
that was fun. And
It was great.
We always get to somewhere, at least for me. And
Yeah. That was great. Thank you so much, Cole.
Thanks, Lorella. And thank you for maybe joining and maybe not.
Yeah.
With the conversation.
It's been so nice to speak to you, to those who have been listening, and it's nice to feel your resonance. And a lot of people say that they either resonate with you or me. It's just, or it's so interesting. And, we do inhabit the feeling realms from different places, angles, and in different ways. So it's beautiful. Lovely to be down here with you.
Always.